My name is Skye Cheung. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I am a visual artist and mom and an educator. I began my studio practice when I was about 13 years old. It was my first form of rebellion because I switched from playing piano as an activity, which a lot of Asians have the experience of playing either piano or violin. And so I decided that I didn't want to do that. For sure, I have led a life that was better, more privileged than both of my parents, having been immigrants from Hong Kong, coming over to Canada with the intention of having a better life and with the intention of working hard and making it possible for me to go to university, being the first child in my immediate family to go to university. It was a very big deal. In fact, if I had chosen anything else, it just would have brought shame to the family, and that was made very clear. My mother never, she wasn't encouraged to do anything like that, pick up an instrument or do anything other than school. She wasn't even allowed to go outside. Our culture is very coded, and anyone who veers out of that is seen as being abnormal. So oftentimes as women, we have to reconcile both being seen and heard, being independent, being patriarch, but also honoring our families. And in my case, as being an Asian, saving face is a huge ideal in our culture. But this terminology can be transferred to a lot of people with a immigrant experience, and as women, being sexualized and as an Asian being deemed as submissive and part of the model minority, we're expected to keep quiet. But then as a feminist, I feel that it's so inherently necessary to be seen and heard, and also to empower others around us. When I was young, as a teenager, as I said, I had this desire to follow a path that was not exactly what was expected of me. The fact that I wanted to pursue visual art was not the typical subject area. I was encouraged more to go into math and sciences. So I believe this began my journey to look at what freedom was, including the freedom of being a woman and not necessarily having the code that was given to me both by, a very patriarchal kind of system, and also by, the Asian culture of being part of the model minority. And the only way that I was able to move out of my parents' home was if I got married. Wasn't, moving in with a partner without being married was never, it wasn't a question. It wasn't a possibility at all. In fact, even years later, I'm talking about a decade or more, my mother would call and thank me for never having wanted to move in with my partner without being married. I would say it's a lifetime that we had known each other, and we had been together for a total of 25 years. We had 2 children, and they're now teenagers. And yeah, one day I had a dream in the morning, and I was on the edge of one of these landscapes, and I was about to jump off and drown myself. And when I woke up, I realized that from this dream, I remembered that this was an actual event. I had suppressed it for so long in my mind that it wasn't until I started painting the same subject matter for so long, and then I had this dream, that I realized that this was something that actually happened. There was a lot of abuse, there was domestic violence, and in order to model to my children that this is unacceptable and to really stop the cycle of violence and abuse, the depression and the not being in touch with my emotions physically started to manifest itself, and I had evidence from it. Chunks of my hair were falling out. I had back pain. All of these things were not a coincidence. It was from stress. Longevity in relationship in my culture is definitely a goal, and not just a goal but an expectation. So out of my entire family, my extended family, all my relatives, I'm the only one who has ever done this. You know, it wasn't talked about, it wasn't encouraged to be talked about. It was whispered about, if at that. And the hope was that everyone, including myself, would forget about this and move on. You know, there is judgment that people think that this is something that is very selfish, but in the end, it's a decision that is very, actually not selfish at all. It's, you're thinking about everyone's future, everyone's present, and how much accountability you have for your children, and to show them what really and truly is the path to being happy, truly being happy, and that is being able to see that if you need to make changes in your life, that you can, you should be allowed to have the freedom to do that, to make changes and to grow and to set boundaries if you need to feel safe, and if you really want to be happy.